Hello, hello. Welcome to a live podcast recording of the Social Selling Sisterhood podcast. My name is Lindsay Dollinger, and it has been a hot minute, not only since I've recorded a podcast episode, because I batched a ton of them in June before my crazy summer travel started, but also since I have been live in all the places. So hello. All right. So I am coming home from a company conference, from doing all this professional development and absorbing all the things, but not really taking a ton of action. So for me this week, my theme is all about going back to the basics. And I wanted to share that with you because maybe you are also coming off of a conference. Maybe you have been sitting by the pool or just feeling really, really unmotivated. And I heard something yesterday in a Super Saturday training for the company that I am partnering with. And the woman on it said, and it was just like super inspirational. She said, you don't lack motivation, you lack discipline. And that really hit me hard because I feel I've been really struggling with that. Like, I feel like I'm really motivated to hit, these rank bonuses and to hit all these things. And I don't know what's stopping me. And the thing is the discipline, because I could have on my trips dedicated time to working my business more than I did, or in specific times rather than, here and there, like we talk about. And the flexibility is nice. And I totally did need to take that, like, kind of step back, that relax, that recharge. And I'm feeling all of that. But now I'm also really feeling like now I get to step into the more disciplined me like I normally am, get back to basics and just start with the basics and go from there. So I wanted to share, I took notes. I took some notes and I wanted to share, if you are like me and you're like, okay, I want to get back, like I want to start my foundations off right, which I have a whole course for the foundations of social selling. And we go through all of this. We feel like I really want to focus on one thing that will move my business forward the quickest. What would that one thing be? And that one thing, guys, is going to be connections. So if you listen to my last podcast episode, I'm pretty sure it was the last one or maybe two ago, I talked about the 3 C's. And I talked about connections, conversations, and content. And I do really think those are the building blocks of your business. But if you have to pick one, I'm gonna lump connections and conversations in together because I think they get to be together. And what I mean by that is connections is like commenting on people's social media. It can be follow-up. So you can put a lot of things into the connection category. It's anything where you are literally connecting with your ideal client or someone who already is your client, and you are trying to create that loyal, the loyal following and those people, your fan club, who are going to follow you no matter where you go. And why that is important is because you might switch companies. You might decide direct sales isn't for you and you want to do some sort of social selling and make your own products or whatever. And it's so important that you make those connections. And those connections is what's going to start creating the foundation of your brand, which is a whole different topic. We're not going to talk about that today because that is not basics necessarily. And your brand and your connections then really allow you to do kind of whatever you want to do, to be perfectly honest. So those connections, what can that look like? That is going to be some dedicated time where you're like, okay, I'm either setting a timer or I'm spending an hour doing like a power hour. And some things that I do for my connections is I reach out to people. It's their birthday. And a lot of people have different theories about the birthday. I never bring up my product or service on someone's birthday. I personally get so peeved when people try to use my birthday as an opportunity to invite me to do a party or tell me they'll send me something free or something like that. To me, that's icky and spammy. You might not think that. You might love when people do that with you. Whatever you feel when you get that done to you is how I like to look at my business. So I will send people messages, and sometimes if they have a post up like about their birthday, I'll comment on that as well. So I'm getting like views. I won't say happy birthday in both places necessarily, but I'll change up my wording a little bit. So birthdays are something, and you know what else? And this sounds like super savage of me on people's birthdays. If I pull up their messenger and I see like for the past 4 years, I wish this person a happy birthday, and they don't respond, they don't, they've nothing. I'm like, this is a good time to unfriend this person, because if you can't even respond to me when I tell you happy birthday or message me on my birthday or whatever, we don't mesh, right? So I actually purged my friends list on birthdays. So birthdays are a big connection point for me. Another one is stories. If you are not using stories, you are missing out, friends. It is one of the easiest ways to connect with people and one of the easiest ways to get into people's private messages. So whether you're on Facebook or Instagram, the stories are at the top of the app. You can also pull them up in Facebook Messenger, which I really like to do because it helps me not get into the scroll on Facebook. So I'll click on stories and I literally will go through them and make it a priority to comment on at least 5 stories. Stories are a really nice thing to comment on and interact with people. I hope you guys can't hear too loud the guy mowing outside. But stories are something really great that you can do when you're trying to multitask as well, or when you are, he's like literally right outside my window. When you are, waiting for your food to arrive at a restaurant or like whatever it might be. So connecting with stories, and then people who have connected with your stories or your posts or whatever it might be, those are people then you can reach out to one-on-one. Maybe they reply to one of your stories that you're putting up, because you're not just connecting with people, but you're putting up quality content in your stories, on your wall, things like that, so that people can vote on polls, so people can like it and let you see who is following you, who are your fans in your fan club. Because if they're the fans in your fan club, those are the people you're going to reach out to first about your new product, opportunity, service, whatever it might be. So make a minimum goal. That's like literally the number one thing. So if you're doing something this week, I want you to make a goal. Like, I'm going to connect with 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, 150 people. I don't care how many people. Keep in mind, though, the number that you commit to, and I'm saying here commit because you're going to do it, the number of people you commit to is going to be directly related to your end result. So if you're doing 5, because you're like, I don't want to overwhelm myself, blah, 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 that's totally fine, and that's better than 4. But your business is going to not look the same connecting with 5 people as my business is, where I'm connecting with 150 people. Okay. Not that I want to get into a comparison game, but I want you to also know for your goals, if you were telling yourself you have these big goals, maybe you have an incentive trip to earn next rank bonus matching, whatever it might be, you're going to have to talk to more people than you think you're going to have to talk to. Okay. So make a minimum goal with that. Content as well. Make a minimum goal. Are you going to do a post a day? Are you going to do 3 posts a week? Are you going to do 1 live video this week? Are you going to record a video and put it up? Are you going to do some sort of sale in your private group? What are you going to do for content? If you can, take a second, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and kind of jot it out. Plan it out a little bit for the week. The more planned and intentional you can be about your content, unless you're like me and you're a teacher off work and you have a little bit more time right now to not have to be so intentional, which is part of the reason where I'm like, I need my discipline back because I don't have my routine right now. Which is so funny because during the school year, I'm like wishing for summer so that I have all this time to build my business, and I'm just not taking advantage of it. But make a minimum content goal and stick with it. This is a great time to take advantage of an accountability partner, snag someone in the Social Selling Sisterhood group, snag someone in your team space. I don't recommend an upline downline for this. I recommend a sideline or someone who is completely not on your immediate team, where you don't make money from them and they don't make money from you, because that can always get a little bit tricky. There can be frustrations when someone doesn't hold up their end of the bargain. So it's a lot better on accountability partners. I know I've talked about this a lot before. Find someone else who, your success is not directly related to theirs, if that makes sense. So, or maybe you want to just set a reminder every day that you get that content in, or I heard on Jessie Lee's podcast probably, over a year ago, and it really stuck with me. How she got started with her podcast was she makes a list of 3 things each day. And I have this spot in my direct sales done right planner and tracker system because I loved this idea so much. 3 things each day that are going to get done. And she doesn't let herself go to bed until she gets them done. Okay, so you don't have to be that, I guess disciplined is the word, or I don't know what word you want to use for that, but you don't have to necessarily stick to that. Maybe if you don't get it done, you get 2 out of the 3 done, then you move the 3rd to your list for the next day. I've heard people suggest that. You know you, and you know what you have to do to get your work done. So if you're going to be that person who, like she said, she literally started recording her podcast at 2 a.m. because she was like, I can't go to bed because I put on my list today that I was starting a podcast, which is exactly why I am doing this podcast recording on a Sunday at 6 p.m. because it drops at midnight. And it's been on my calendar. I've been feeling all the things since coming back from my trip, and I'm just now getting back into my mojo. So you know what you have to do. If you are the person that you have to be told you have to get it done to go to sleep or you're not going to do it, then do that. If you're the person who can let yourself do 2 out of the 3 and move something to the next day, then do that. If you're a person who needs an accountability partner, you're not going to get it done, do that. But you have to put a little bit of initiative into this or else it's never going to happen. Which goes back to the discipline, which is kind of the overall theme of this back to basics reminders. The last thing on your content, don't forget to be posting some good stuff on your personal profiles. Depending on your company, depending on your business, I see a lot of people being super consistent in their VIP groups, and they're nurturing those people that are already interested in their products and services. But you have all these people that are on your personal Instagram and your personal Facebook and Pinterest and TikTok and all the things that can't see that content. So make sure you are showing up also in your personal wall. The other thing with that is sometimes people like to see the stuff on your personal wall, and they don't want to see your essential oil stuff, your nail stuff, whatever it is all the time. They want to see about you. So make sure that you are showing up on that personal wall as well. As I already mentioned this one a little bit, but find a system that works for you. So if you are someone who works better and your juices are flowing better early in the morning, you need to wake up before your kids get up, before your husband gets up, whatever, then be disciplined enough to acknowledge that and set your alarm. Maybe it's not an hour early at first. Maybe it's just 5 minutes early and you're getting your gratitude writing in, or you're getting something in. And then maybe next week it's 10 minutes early, and add on a little bit at a time. Don't go and I'm guilty of this too. I'm all right, I'm starting a new nutrition plan tomorrow. I'm cleaning out all the sweets. I'm doing complete sugar detox. You don't have to be so extreme. You have to, though, find a system that works for you. So if right now, because you're a teacher and you're not at school, for me, I prefer to work between 10 and 12. Mid-morning is my sweet spot. And then also, again, late at night. But I also know that I'm not going to be private messaging people about my products and services at 10 o'clock at night. So that's the stuff that I need to know and put into my systems that work, that I'm going to be doing that between 10 and 12, because that's when people are less likely to get really annoyed because their phone goes off, right? So keep that in mind as you're figuring out your systems. If you don't use a planner and tracker, I highly recommend one. You don't have to get mine. Obviously, I love mine, especially for direct sales and social selling. The link, it should be in the comments of this video, but you can grab it on lindsaydollinger.com. It's a steal. It's a PDF, so you can print it out. You can modify it right on your computer if you want a digital planner and tracker as well. But I write on there, these are the 3 things I have to do today. These are the people I need to follow up with today. And I have a spot where I block everything out hour by hour. I do this in the summer as well. I schedule in my free time. I schedule in my nap time if I want it. I schedule my workout time. But having those systems that work is what is going to help you move the needle forward. If you're not moving your needle forward every day, you don't have a business. One thing, last thing. If you don't have a team that does working Zooms, power hours together, these are so helpful, especially for your newbies, especially for you if you need, like I know the team that I'm on has one in the morning from 8 to 9 a.m. So I'm setting my alarm and I'm showing up. I'm being disciplined enough to show up because not that we're talking, but someone is on there leading it. I don't have to think. They're telling me, okay, you have 5 minutes to send birthday messages. And I'm like, okay, great, doing it. Because I've missed my birthday messages a couple days this month, and that is completely not like me. So if you have that sort of system in place, use it. If you don't, make that. Find a sideline sister, an upline sister, downline sister. Invite your whole big team you're on. You don't have to just invite the 5 people that are under you right now. Step up. I guarantee, as a leader on a team right now, I love when people are like, hey, can I lead a power hour? I'm like, girl, you don't need to ask to lead a power hour. Lead the power hour. Please do. So look for those people who are willing to step up in your organization. Encourage them to step up. But then also you get to step up as well and say, hey, I'm going to lead a working Zoom tomorrow. Here's the link. It is going to be at this time. And even if no one shows up, you're going to show up and you're going to work the entire hour because you were being disciplined. And so if you need that, if that is going to be helpful for you, you're so welcome, Gail. If that's going to be helpful for you, then plan that. Or maybe it's people like Gail and I were in a mastermind together. I could totally reach out to the ladies in that mastermind and be like, hey, do you guys want to do a networking hour or a work hour or whatever it is? They don't have to be people in your company, because at the end of the day, like I go over all the time in my podcast, as I just went over in this video, most of our tasks are pretty much the same. We're connecting with people, we're creating content, we are following up, and we're repeating, right? So be disciplined, give yourself a reward, give yourself set working time, set boundaries, and then again, be disciplined enough to show up for them. Because the biggest takeaway that I had from my training this weekend was there's a huge difference, again, between motivation and discipline. And like I said, I don't know if that rings a bell for you or really sticks home, but I'm like, wow, I've been motivated, but I haven't been disciplined. And it is time to restart, to get back to the basics. And, just remember, how bad do I want it? How bad do you want it? What's your why? What do you want out of it? Because I can tell you right now, you're not going to grow a booming business if you are not willing to put yourself out there, if you're not willing to show up, to be consistent, to be disciplined. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, it's those healthy habits. And we get into it and, we fall in and we fall out. Trust me, because I am normally a very disciplined person. But vacation and trying to give myself those boundaries for my personal life, I don't regret a single second of it. But now I'm back into my discipline mode where I get to get all the stuff done and I'm building my business, right? All right, friends, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please share this with a friend, maybe a teammate. If you are listening on the podcast, please leave me a 5-star rating and review. I really appreciate that. And go out there, be disciplined. Tag me in all your posts this week. Like as you're working your business, screenshot it, put in your stories, tag me, let me know that, this spoke a little motivation into you, that you are going to be disciplined this week and get your stuff done. Bye, friend.